quite good.
My friends, and we'll
Can we now sing Glory, Glory, Man United?
providing.
Glory, Glory, Man United.
Scum.
Manure United.
Benua.
Even do this.
Sean, stop. Wait, hang on.
Oh, it's loose lah.
I think you know where is it loose? It's loose here.
Just the way you like your women.
Yes. As long as he doesn't play with it, it's okay.
No,
Yeah, you see this?
what the fuck?
Yeah, so try not
That's
to bend it.
a lot.
Just hold it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, just hold it like this.
I'm holding it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
that's fine.
touch it.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
It's coming off.
And then I just talk like that.
Yeah. Flex your biceps.
We. Okay, what? 9/11, right?
September 11.
September 11, 2001.
Yes.
One day I'm gonna mistake it for 9 of November. Which
9 of November,
Nine
which
of-
has no significance
9
whatsoever.
of November.
It might be someone's birthday.
It
though.
might be
Yes,
someone's
yes,
birthday.
It might be one of our
someone's
viewers' birthday. But today we're not going to talk about your birthdays.
Because it doesn't matter.
No one cares.
Yes.
No one cares that you're born.
It's
no,
a-
no one cares if you exist
Exactly.
unless you are subscribed to patreon.com/lotsofloba.
we have some significance to
Yes.
it because today is the 29th of November.
Yeah.
So it has some relations to the 9/11
How?
without the 2 lah.
Without the 2. Or
And
2
then-
plus 9 is 11.
Yeah, 2 plus 9
Oh,
is...
look at
Ooh.
it that way.
Look
Yeah.
at it that way.
Whoa, okay. That's
Conspiracy. That's
Why,
conspiracy.
that's what
You
we're-
add everything up and it then matches.
That's why we chose
Yeah,
today
exactly.
to be...
And it was 2 towers.
Whoa! Look at
Whoa!
all the dots are connecting. So it's Conspiracy Sunday. Well,
Yes,
every
Conspiracy Sunday.
Sunday is Conspiracy Sunday.
Every
Big-
day is conspiracy.
Well, not every day. Just
Conspiracy day.
particularly Sunday for us, because that's
Yeah.
when we all go to church.
Yes.
That's all. That's
when
Yeah.
that's when we step into the studio.
that's
Exactly.
when we
Yeah.
step
The studio.
the church.
The studio with marble flooring
in fact,
and a mirror for my ceiling.
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna call this. And when everybody asks me now, where are you going? I'm
Studio.
going to church.
Ah.
I'm going to church.
Right.
Technically,
Yeah.
Technically,
there is a pastor here.
and we can use it because Joey Diaz has stopped Church of What's Happening Now.
Oh,
Right.
is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Now Joey Diaz's joint or some shit like that because she has
Joint.
moved back to New Jersey
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't have Lee Syed as his sidekick anymore.
Oh, what
It's
happened?
just him alone, is it?
They moved back. He moved back. So
No,
I
but-
think Lee moved to somewhere else, like Tennessee or some other place.
But why did Syed not follow him? Lee Syed. So is he? In truth, his name is spelled Leesaid.
Syat.
Oh, I thought it's like
Jewish
Lee
fella, right?
Lee
Yeah,
Syed.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Why is it Syed then?
Syed. I don't know what.
Syed. Oh,
Ask your
it's like
people.
That's how they pronounce it. Tough
Syed.
questions. Just
Yeah.
like on 9/11, tough questions were being asked.
Tough questions.
Yes.
That were never answered by
there were no answers.
properly.
And New York City had to go through quite a tough time, lah.
Yes. And also, for some of you who are wondering, what 9/11, what is this? You're
Yeah.
probably born after 2001.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And you're too young to be on this. Wait. Oh no, you're just
Yeah.
right.
You'll
Just
be-
right.
you'll be 19.
You're 1 year
Yeah,
old enough. Yeah.
You can 2002, right? So 18.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. If you are born in 2002, drop us a DM. We'd like to meet you. Only if you're
Yeah.
female.
Only if you're female. If you're a guy, just subscribe. YouTube.
Leave
Like
a
us
like.
on Instagram or
Yeah.
Facebook.
On Facebook.
$2 patreon.com/lotsofloba.
But it's gonna be a very
Yes.
chill topic today. It's 9/11. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's chill lah.
very chill. It's been it's been a
exactly
while.
chill like how those people who were jumping off the building, like how they were coming down like surfers.
Right.
Yeah, they were like surfing on
Surfing on thin
office
air.
tables.
Surfing on thin air.
But
Thin air.
thinking about it, it's 19 years ago.
Yes,
19
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? It's been that long.
So, before we jump in,
Josie was in primary school.
yeah, we're all... Wait,
I was in secondary school.
Have they been built?
Yeah, Freedom Tower.
Freedom Tower.
Freedom Tower?
Yeah, there only one, I think.
only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Why?
but then it's like reinforced and all this
Also,
kind of
it's
shit.
one big one lah.
Yeah,
So the
s-
two combined
yeah.
into
With
Total
all the
one.
freedom.
names of the
Of the victims, or
right?
whoever who went missing from the tower that day and all this kind of
in
shit.
the
Yeah.
in the monuments at the bottom.
Yeah.
So where were you guys on 9/11? Very important question.
School, secondary school.
No, no. When it happened.
When it happened.
Oh, when it happened.
So when it happened,
probably I don't know, sleeping.
I was in my parents' room
Right.
waiting to watch SummerSlam 2001.
How the hell do you remember that? What the hell? I really don't remember what happened on that
I
day.
can't
other
forget that.
Because you were waiting anxiously to watch it.
I was waiting anxiously for it to start. So it was meant to start at 10 p.m.
Right.
on Channel 5. And suddenly it was News 5 tonight, right? 9:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they had a ticker saying that there's like breaking news. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Where's my SummerSlam?
Where's the Rock?
My parents told me that I could only watch 1 hour, then after that I need to go to bed. So I was like, fuck this.
Yeah. You want to get it
I don't want
started.
to see news.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the next thing, the screens change and there's like fucking dust, plumes of dust
Right.
coming out, and then the second building like went down, some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were showing us like delayed images because it happened like 8:30. I think the first plane got hijacked at about 8:30 a.m. or some shit like that
In New York, right?
In New York,
Yeah.
yeah. So New York is 12 hours behind.
Right.
So it was like 8:30 Singapore time.
Mm.
So
So
by
it
the
hap-
time it
to us
happened,
it
it was like
happened yesterday
9:30,
lah.
9:45, like that.
For us, it was like it happened yesterday. I
Yeah.
think for us, it was already like the 12th.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No, on the
Yeah.
11. On the 11 as
Oh,
well.
it was on 11
Oh,
as
but
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
For us, it was 11th night.
Night.
Yeah.
This is 11th morning.
So
Yeah,
all
it
the
happened in
like
morning, yeah.
at that time they had this news channel called TV Works, which later on became Channel I.
Oh, the
Channel-
channel that kind of failed.
Yeah, it failed miserably.
Hmm.
So they had news as well, and they were showing the same shit as well.
Right.
So I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Now I'm
No,
going to
some-
sit through the shit.
I gotta,
Mm,
yeah, I'm
no,
gonna take a
some-
year beating from this newscaster.
But you didn't tell your parents extend lah. Extend a bit.
But at that point, do you realize what's going on, or you still don't know
I
yet?
had no clue.
you just wanted SummerSlam.
I just wanted SummerSlam.
You wanted to see the Undertaker or SummerSlam was
Kane,
like,
Undertaker,
I
The
wanted
Rock.
to see, yeah, I think The Rock was there.
Yes,
Triple H, Kurt Angle.
All
Yeah.
the
Classic
Ash.
lah, the classic.
Classic, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? I want
When
to see
Kane
shit.
still have the mask on,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And then the two towers fell, and
Uh-huh.
the next day it was like everyone in school was talking about it. Like, like,
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Right. It was on the news cycle for at least like 3 days,
yes,
right? At
Yeah.
least 3 days.
After that, it was all the war and terror thing.
Yeah.
correct.
Shortly after that, yeah.
Correct,
But
yeah.
we're here to discuss not specifically that day, but all the conspiracies and all the theories that have come up from that day onwards.
Yeah.
Like the main one is that it was a setup by the U.S. government to initiate that war. Somehow it was fixed and conjured up. It was planned because of
That's
all
one
the,
conspiracy theory that's floating
because
around.
of all the other so-called evidence that was not pursued, which is the architects and everyone saying that, hey, the way the towers came down, it just doesn't seem like two planes can do that, and it looked like it was controlled. I think the main one is that it looked like a controlled demolition.
because of free fall. Because
Yeah.
the buildings came down at free
And
fall.
then after that, innocent enough. They could have said that, and more investigations could have been put into it to say like, no, actually this is this, but no, it was actually just like, no, what are you guys talking about? You saw the planes hit the thing. The jet fuel caused
Weakened the structure.
created
Yeah.
temperatures that weakened
wait,
the
hang on.
structures.
So that's the first conspiracy.
Yeah, that's
right?
the first one.
The two planes hit the towers, and
Mhm.
it was a controlled demolition that brought the towers down.
Yes.
The second conspiracy that's floating out there is it's not a plane,
Mm.
but it's actually missiles.
Ah,
Yeah, so
yes,
that's
yes.
another conspiracy that's floating out there.
And then the people on those two
Actually,
planes,
you can
right?
you can keep going on with all the different explanations for
But
why
the-
the
but
planes
the more
came down, right?
plausible, like the more plausible thing that's been brought up is that there's a group of architects, like
Architects and engineers for
Engineers.
9/11 truth.
that they look
Yeah.
at it and they were like saying, no, it doesn't make sense. Not only for those two, and then later on, what happens to the building around it as well.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of it was more or less what's that? There's a committee, right, that they put together
The
to
9/11
investigate.
9/11
yeah.
commission, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that commission just more or less just did what, not say what they're told, but they gave the evidence, or they said things to just push it forward. Like yes, it was 2 planes.
They just follow the official story.
Yeah, it
lah,
was brought
basically.
down.
Yeah.
Nothing fishy about it. Stop digging and all. Like no. And they refused to carry out any more, citing like
So they closed the case, lah.
then
In
they
other
closed
words,
the case.
Yeah.
it's like whatever explanation the administration gave, that's it. We have compiled a report, and you want to
And
read,
that's
you
it, lah.
read through it.
And
it's-
their dismissive attitude towards the legit questions that were raised there, and then the immediate treatment of like these are all conspiracy. We shouldn't put any like let's not put any attention to it. And then the other things that we hear from what happened that day, there were like trucks that removed the debris.
yes.
That they were moving at speeds that you never like. I mean, no effort was put to really investigate it. They were more like, let's get this over and done with.
Mm.
It was brought down. Now let's fix the area and
Clean up the area.
Let's just go
Yeah.
on our wall lah. Or I mean, we'll just say whatever.
Yeah, so the
happens.
steel from the buildings were transported out of the wreckage
yeah.
and shipped off to China.
Yeah, and it is so weird. Like, what? Who does that? Like, is this some pre-planned? If the World Trade Center ever goes down, all the steel is bought by China. Like, too many questions, and none of them anyone bothers to really answer. They answered it basically the same way our ministers will answer about their pay. Just a flat answer, and then you just accept it because it's it's the correct answer. It makes the most sense, or in their idea we get paid so high to done.
Yeah, and the sad thing about this, right, is also that I think this the questioning of the truth for 9/11 was rampant. I would say about a year after 9/11 happened, and sadly after that, after a year passed, 1 year passed, 5 years, no one really gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
No, because
No
of
one- no one cares about it.
Because when
Yeah.
you
And also that's the reason why we're talking about it now, so that we won't get flagged. So in the next
why
5
did I say brought up 19 years? Like,
in the next 5 years, we'll probably talk about the virus that's floating around now. And we won't get flagged.
We have to wait like 10 more years.
10 more years, or maybe 10 more years.
Because there's no virus. No, but you can, if you were to look at the entire event that was 9/11, you can draw loads of parallels with the JFK assassination. So
This
a
one
catastrophic event happened.
but yeah, then it's publicized,
It's publicized.
controlled publication.
Controlled.
They'll just say like things like
Yep.
but
And then
only release the information they want.
like it just took a very, very short time for the administration or whoever
move
to
on.
come up with an official story
and then just move on.
and not deviate from the story.
Yeah, not deviate and not allow any outside investigation. It's like
Yeah.
the whole question about the magic bullet and how it penetrates this. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, it's one of your conspiracy theories. We just told you, Lee Harvey shot. Is it
Lee Harvey Oswald,
Lee
Yeah.
Harvey shot him. That's it. Just take it.
Yeah.
Do you know there's a Facebook page for something about Lee Harvey Oswald? Like what's the word for
Patsy.
no the innocence of Lee Harvey Oswald or something?
Is it?
Innocence.
Yeah.
Oh,
There is a
Yeah.
Facebook page apparently.
I don't think
That's
anyone
still going on today.
thinks he's innocent. It's more the case where he's
Set
a
up.
pawn.
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
set
not
up.
really innocent. He probably if he did it, he was there, but he was a pawn in a sense planted. Like he had something to gain from being there. Like if he did this, everyone he knows or the people he knows.
So
will be-
okay, I think let's set up for our audience lah. For those who
Yeah.
don't know who fuck is JFK and who
Mm.
Lee Harvey Oswald is.
Yeah,
and
if you
what-
don't know, you should kill yourself.
you should Google it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
maybe we're too old already. I
Yeah.
don't
So
know.
JFK is the John F. Kennedy, is the
Yeah.
president of the United States, and he was
John
assassinated.
Fitzgerald
wa-
Kennedy.
yeah,
Yeah.
He was assassinated in 1963
Yeah.
in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Yes.
Yes, he was on a motorcade supposed to go through the city, right? Something
Yeah.
like- yeah.
Dealey Plaza,
Yeah, and
and then he got shot 3 times. He apparently there were only 3 shots fired.
yes,
2 hit him.
right.
2 bullets went through him. 1 hit the sidewalk, and a ricochet hit another guy called Tig. So he had like concrete hit his face from the bullet, the shrapnel. Yeah. So that's where the magic bullet theory came about.
Right.
Yeah. So Arlen Specter, who was one of the junior lawyer then, he came out with the theory that that one bullet went through John F. Kennedy, then rotated, ricocheted, and then came out of another part,
And
and
to
then
hit
went through
the-
his leg,
And they
and
hit
then
the,
came out and then
hit
hit
the Secret Service agent. I think.
no, Connolly. I think it was
the
governor,
driver. Oh,
the governor Connolly or something. Yeah.
His arm or something, right? His hand or something.
It went through him. So it's like one bullet
Yeah.
created don't know how many wounds in two people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
so it's
Which was ridiculous. Like it was
crazy lah.
defying physics.
Yeah. So basically, they were admitting that magic exists. Oh.
Right.
No,
I
but
think
the
Dave
reason
Chappelle
why
did something like that.
yeah, the reason why they had to come up with the magic bullet theory was because without that theory,
They were
there
saying
couldn't be only one shooter.
Yeah, that was the main thing, that there was not one shooter, but there were multiple shooters.
Yes.
Right.
Because
And that's where the conspiracy comes
yes,
in.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they couldn't have that thing where he missed. Basically, they did not want to miss. They wanted him dead.
Right. And
Like
and the
then.
one shooter is Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
According to
The
Because
the
official
official
story.
story.
Official story.
Because
yes.
they planted that he was a turncoat,
Mm.
and then he was
But
working for.
if you were to actually look into the whole Lee Harvey Oswald story,
Yeah, it's more
that is where
the
you can see the conspiracy building.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the fact, okay, the bigger, the stranger, I think this one is fact. This one is not conspiracy. It's the fact that
Yeah.
how quickly the power switched hands.
Yes.
There were
Switch hands
pictures.
in the plane.
There was pictures of the then vice president,
Lyndon Baines
not saying
Johnson.
celebrating, but
He was
He was sworn in the plane in Air Force One.
but
Right.
there was a picture of him also with was it JFK's wife? No, I know there was
Yeah,
a
when he
picture.
was sworn in, it was with
There was a picture of
with
him, not
Jackie
say
Onassis.
like smiling, like not
Yeah.
say it's a jove.
Yeah,
like,
but it could be taken out of context.
Yeah,
it might be
yeah.
before the killing. So
could
we
be,
we
but it
don't
was
know
very.
about that.
I mean,
But I think one way where will be more interesting is to dive into the background of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
He's an intelligence officer.
Yes.
Yes.
So he
Yes.
went to the Marines, right? And he went through basic training with the Marines.
Yep.
He was not like specialized Marine. He went through the basic training. He was not even. He did not even get like good marksman grading for his shooting abilities. After that, passed out from basic training, he was sent to Office of Naval Intelligence.
Right.
So that is like a precursor to
CIA.
CIA. So the ONI, OSI, Office of Strategic Intelligence, ONI, and he was sent to Japan, to a classified naval base.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So why post World War II? Why would you send some normal Marine with decent clearance or whatever? Why would you send that? So he had higher level clearance, and he was in intelligence, right? After that, he came back, and he defected from
supposedly defected
from America
to Moscow.
to Moscow. He went to
To-
Russia,
to the Soviet
to
Union.
USSR, right?
Yep.
Then
And
he defected again.
then he defected. He relinquished his Russian Soviet Union citizenship
Came
or
back,
PR whatever, and came back.
and then
And
just to
for him to
assassinate-
come back, right?
and then assassinate the president.
Wait. He came back with a wife,
He came back with a wife,
Russian wife.
and the American embassy, right, gave him a passport, gave him money to travel, gave his wife like citizenship,
Yeah.
All
and let them to come back.
all
Why would the American government do that
In the height of the Cold War.
in the height of the Cold War?
And they were saying that it's probably because he defected there, got something, defected back, and then traded the
He's a-
information.
Double agent, lah, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
if
mean,
you look,
that's
if you
what-
look at this,
That's
if
what
you
they're
look at,
going
yeah.
at.
if you
But
look at
then
it this way,
later
yeah.
on, suddenly he kills the president. Like
yeah.
It doesn't add up. But they swept it on the thing. It's like, oh well, no, he clearly shot
And one very important thing that always gets looked over, right, like glossed over, is for you to have actually shot someone and get away with it is quite hard. Because if you shoot a weapon, especially a fucking old rifle like that, you will have gunpowder, you will have
Residue on your hands.
residue on your hands and
Yeah,
your body,
on your
right?
palms, yeah.
They did a paraffin test on him, came out negative.
Yeah.
So if he actually shot that rifle, 3 times.
Oh, and they did say something about angles. The angles of some of the like the bullets and how it hit,
Mm.
right? It just didn't.
It cannot make sense.
It didn't. It seemed like the shots would not just come from one direction. It just comes from different. So this is
and the
this,
whole that goes to
this the American
like Bill Hicks. You know,
yeah.
Bill Hicks during one of his stand up, he'll tell like how JFK got hit, and then his head went back into the left,
Right.
back into the left. There's no way that you could be hit from the back,
and then
and
go
then your head goes back
backwards.
into the left.
So
Right. If you fell,
when
if
you
you go
hit,
forward.
right,
Forward.
the force would push your head forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You
And if a bullet enters from the back,
The
and
the
the
front
exit wound should
the-
be somewhere here
the
or here
exit
or
wound.
where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the exit wound on his on JFK was on his back of the skull.
back of the skull.
Oh, and they don't.
Yeah.
They didn't release the I don't
Autopsy
think they didn't
footage,
release
pictures,
Any of
yeah.
the autopsy.
Yeah, and also I think even after and the rifle wasn't centered, right? The scope of the rifle.
They did.
The scope was
there
added on later.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
whole thing about the back then.
Yeah.
The back then the U.S. How they used to cover up things because of the lack of cameras, right? of
Yes.
Social media.
That's right.
satellite,
So they
lack of
only
everything.
had 3 news stations then.
So it was
ABC,
very,
CBS, and I think NBC.
I wouldn't say it's easy. It
So
was
they only had 3.
It wasn't easy. It was
so
just that
if
they
these channels or these outlets did not say that it happened, the rest of the country wouldn't know that
Yeah.
anything like that happened.
So I'm not saying it was like difficult or easy. I'm just saying that back then the stuff they had to do was less than they would need to do now.
To cover up.
Yeah.
That's why in modern times, right, it's so much more difficult for them to carry out certain things like that. If
Yeah.
if the same thing were to happen now,
It'd be way more difficult.
because you know
with social
how many
media and
cameras would
Mm.
be on that car.
everyone has a camera. on their phone,
Everyone, and
right?
they wouldn't be waving at JFK.
They will-
They will be filming him
on his
coming
car.
out.
Yeah,
And if he were to be shot at that moment, right? If anybody were to be shot at that moment,
it's harder to get away with it, lah.
harder. Somebody would.
Someone just post on Twitter, "Hey, this happened."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what happened after JFK was there was a experiment, right, where they
Mm.
had the best sniper in the Marines.
Carlos Haycock.
Yes, the white
Carlos
feather.
Halfcock. Yeah.
The white feather.
Yeah.
His story is insane.
Yes.
He actually crawled, sneaked into a Vietnam camp over 3 days to assassinate a Vietnamese Viet
And
Cong
then-
general,
and then came back out.
and then he crept backwards.
yeah.
Story. I was watching this YouTube channel who did like a mini documentary on him. Apparently, he moved so slow, like 2 inches like every hour, that even
Mm.
wildlife would graze past him, not knowing that he's there.
Yeah.
And
he's considered the best sniper
yeah.
in American history.
And so what he did, because the camp, right, had this foliage right in
Mm.
front of the camp, so he knew that if any shot would be fired, that's the first place that the Viet Congs would go.
Yeah.
So he bypassed that. He went to like a bush on the other side. He waited like for hours for the general to step out for a cigarette. He fired a shot, and then just as how he predicted, they opened fire on the foliage. And while they're doing that, he just like crept backwards, all the way back to camp.
Yeah.
Another
and,
3 days.
And this guy was actually approached by one of the, I think, Discovery or History Channel or something like that, to actually replicate the shot.
And if he couldn't do it with
He
a
couldn't do it.
modern
Within 6 seconds, 3 shots fired.
No,
within
he had to use the same
he had
rifle.
to use the
Yep.
same right, but he couldn't replicate it with.
And it's not just a shot, but it's within that time frame as well.
Within-
No,
time
you
frame,
see,
yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
the scrutiny back then, right, was not as stringent as now. Like all the
Mm.
questions we're asking now, all the questions they did ask right now, right, were not asked back then. They
No,
couldn't
it
be
was.
asked. They
It was
couldn't, but
asked.
it could be shut down. So it's
Yeah,
because
it was shut down.
there was
yeah.
there was no like outlet. Like if he could go to the person and ask him, hey, can you do that? And he's like, no. And even though it was asked, like no, and then you better not say anything because we know where you live, and you know that's it. Like no one would
that
know.
was
if
why
you
it
did-
was a subject of a film, one like
I mean, it will
JFK
be-
by Oliver Stone,
Yeah.
and that was a story of the what do you call that, the district attorney of New Orleans, right? What's his name? Was played by Kevin Costner, but so he realized that there was something going wrong.
Mhm.
And because like New Orleans, Florida, Texas are all like neighboring states, right?
Yeah.
So most of the people who were actually going into Texas for the assassination part of the intelligence community were based in either New Orleans, Texas, or Florida.
Right.
And Lee Harvey Oswald actually spent a lot of time in New Orleans that summer.
Right.
So, you know the character David Ferry, right?
Yeah.
So even in the
guy with the big
Irishman,
ears, yeah.
the big ears and the weird eyebrows.
Yeah.
So in JFK, it was played by Joe Pesci.
Mm.
And that guy, that character actually drove from New Orleans to Dallas that days before the assassination. And that guy was intelligence. He was CIA. He was in the Cuban, like what they call that,
Mr.
freedom
Crescent?
air patrol, air something, civilian air patrol or some shit like that. The
Right.
like the
To arm the freedom fighters in Cuba.
yes, and
Yep.
they wanted to fight and get rid of Fidel Castro.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they were getting like weapons
Yeah,
and shit. And
we covered all this in that what was that movie?
The Irishman.
The Irishman.
the
yeah.
Irishman, right?
How
so
that failed.
yeah,
And that
so,
screwed up a lot of mafias, a lot of.
so this guy, he actually went to Dallas, went to the Texas Book Depository, right? And he actually went to see the angle, like how could someone shoot? Because this guy was also like in the
Kevin Costner's character.
Kevin Costner's
Yeah.
character. He was also in the, I think Air Force or Army.
Right.
So he was like, I've got combat experience from World War One, World War Two.
Mm.
So like, you don't pull the wool over my
Yeah.
head lah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So like when they went to see, right, they were like, there's no way.
yeah,
That's when they went further.
Oh.
Right.
And he actually brought a case on this guy called Clay Shaw or Clay Bertrand, like one is his alias. And that guy was a gay, very, very prominent businessman with top level clearance from the CIA.
Right.
Like, why would a businessman need that?
Mm.
Mm.
And then later on, like through their investigation, they found out that this guy was actually intelligence, and it was doing intelligence for different countries and different intelligence services. And they were trying to get Fidel Castro out of Cuba. So he was one of those like coordinators for like both intelligence and movement, like logistics.
Yeah.
So I think one of the conspiracy that for the assassination of JFK was his failure to move into
Jim Harrison. I think Jim Harrison. That is the name of the New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the conspiracy theory is that he was assassinated because he didn't want to move into Cuba.
Yes.
Right.
And he was going to totally withdraw. He was not going to go into Vietnam.
Right.
So-
And the Cold War would have been stopped because they were doing back channel communication
so
with
Russia.
that's why
Russia,
it's
yeah.
so it's shady lah. The American politics so shady from then, and maybe 20 years from now they're gonna do one for the 9/11. That's why we're gonna cover it now, because we want to be first.
Yeah.
We won't be able to
Yeah.
dig
So
it up
you can draw
20 years from now and say, hey,
like a time capsule. You treat this as a time
a lot
capsule.
of us brought it up before, and then only now when it's like, when they've covered it up enough, because I think the JFK is, that's how
It's still being covered up. JFK.
that's how deeply buried it is that they're not even afraid people make movies about it
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
because it's so far.
But it's still being covered up, Like
Yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Hanks and
It
all.
has to.
They made a movie called Parkland. They made a series called Parkland.
It will forever. It'll be
Parkland is the hospital which they brought JFK to straight after he got shot. So that's where they found the pristine bullet on the gurney.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, if any of it,
that series is to show that that the official story is correct.
yeah.
Really?
So the thing is, right?
Wow.
The thing is, right, if it ever gets to a stage where they could actually prove something,
Right.
we'll never know about it.
Okay.
It will be very hard for us to know about it unless it's from a Russian spy or
yeah,
a
but-
Israeli Mossad
But
agent.
with every which one you're talking about?
No, I'm just saying that this JFK thing, it will be buried so deep because the moment something credible comes out from it, we will never hear about it.
Mm.
We can never
No,
hear
actually,
about it.
if you want to hear, you can find the avenues
I
to
mean,
hear about
we
it.
can, but
But the
it'll
thing
never
is
be
that-
widespread.
Ah,
Like all these
yeah,
movies and
yes,
everything
yes,
that comes
yes,
out,
yes.
right?
The
it's
government
something
will
that-
never come out to say,
yes,
"Oh,
it's
by the way."
something that the government allows. To
They will
come
not
out.
accept it, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll say that that's alternative
Yeah,
news.
because
Yes.
as
And
long as they can
so
keep it
forth.
within the conspiracy realm, right? That's where they're happy to have it at.
Yeah, because when you talk about conspiracy, immediately you think about flat earthers.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You know, flat Earth, right?
And-
but
and-
UFOs.
And
Yeah.
the thing about
well,
that,
it
right?
might be aliens though.
No, the thing about
Yeah.
that, right?
It might be aliens.
Is flat earthers and all that. My own theory about them is they were created to bring out all this
Tinfoil hat shit.
yes
Yeah.
to
No lah.
discredit the community.
No, I don't think so. I think just some
You think
people
they're
are not.
just idiots.
Ju-
No, no.
yeah,
The
just some
thing
people
is,
just don't know any better.
the thing is, it was probably like something said amongst a small group of people
Right.
that caught on to maybe a few hundred people, but they made it big enough so they could discredit a larger
Other
pool.
people who believe in conspiracies.
It-
I
it-
get what
it-
you're trying to
it's,
say.
it's
yeah.
more or
The-
less like not to say a distraction tactic, but more or less
You
to, in
ta-
order
you
to-
tar and feather the entire, like, anyone who talks about conspiracy. Oh, that means you believe in flat Earth.
because
Yeah.
You believe that the
flat-
moon is made of cheese.
flat
that kind of
earthers
shit lah,
are
like-
the concept behind it is so ridiculous. Like
Mm.
people have seen it, or
Mm.
you know, some people have flown. They've seen the curvature of the Earth. They've seen it with their own eyes. There's astronauts up there. There are a lot of things.
Yeah,
and
when David Blaine floated on the fucking balloon to 20,000 feet, you could see the curvature of the
yeah,
Earth.
so
Mm.
these
Yeah.
things are clear to see. So when someone comes out and say the Earth is flat, you know, they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Hep-
that's ridiculous. But when you use that to, you know, blanket the rest of the conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
right? That's why people can say, oh, you're like a flat earther, and then boom, suddenly everything you just said just gets ridiculous. Even if you have like some
some
credible
evidence.
thing, but they're still
But
like you're pulling out.
side tracking a bit. Have you guys seen the video of David Blaine floating on the fucking balloon?
No, not
It's
yet.
pretty hilarious because by right he's supposed to he wants to break the world record or something
Mhm.
for a guy without oxygen like above
Mm-mm.
20,000 feet. So I think, but his team was like panicking because the oxygen levels were dropping
Mhm.
at 19,900 feet or something like that. And then the guy was radioing to him like, "Can you please like use the oxygen?" And he's like, "No, I'm perfectly fine. Let me hit 20,000 feet." Then it's like, "David, I think you should be careful, blah blah blah." And then it's like, "No, ask me a question." And then so they asked him like a legal question, like how high can like Class A planes fly, that kind of stuff. And then he gave like the answer and then said, "Okay, I think you're pretty fine." Then he was checking his watch. He said, "Oh, 20,000." Then he took the the fucking oxygen and started breathing in it. Yeah.
I think
So
that's
that-
all like
Stage.
stage lah. That's just all for TV.
It's always like
No, but you can hear his voice though. He's
No,
like, "Yeah, David, like I think you should
Like
use the
if-
oxygen."
I think he's a very good actor.
Like if it's
Yeah.
16,000 and they raise that question, then maybe, you know, it's like, oh, it's a bit too soon. There's no impact. Like 16,000, what? They're like, it's too soon.
Mm.
But in 19,900 and what? 900.
Yeah, he wanted to reach 20,000
It's
feet
a bit
to
too
use.
close. Like it's a bit too close. It seems like it's there for the oomph. Like
Yeah.
if it's so close, right? Then, you know, when you say it like that, I was like, oh, like
No,
oh, is it-
no. Like throughout his flight, that they were asking him like, "How's your levels going?" They have like temperature check and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like that.
believe
I
it's
think
an
it's part
so
of it. I
throughout-
think it's part of it.
I
And then
believe-
part of the
I-
act.
I
And then
believe
they are telling him that, "Hey, if you don't feel well, use the oxygen.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
feel well, use the oxygen."
it's an
Okay, we're reaching 20,000 feet. David, you've broken
Yeah.
the world. Like you set the record. Let's use the oxygen now. Then he's
No,
like, "No, I have a personal thing. I want to hit 20,000 feet."
Yeah, I
So
I respect the guy.
Throughout
because-
the way, they were like talking to him all the time.
yeah,
And then
Mm.
he's like, "No, I'm okay. Like, give me a hard question. I'll give you the answer." Then they give him a hard
Yeah.
question. And he's like, "Okay."
Mm.
like, but,
then
but
he-
for me, you asked me that question also. You know, what class A? What the fuck? It's like a plane that can come this high and just fly lah.
It's highly likely that they rehearsed that. lah.
Yeah, so
But-
the thing is that I
No,
respect
no. These are
him
all
for
safety
his-
questions.
for his.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these are all
yeah.
safety
No, but
questions.
he would
yeah.
know the answers lah.
No. He knows. Like these are all safety questions.
It's just
So you
to
can't
check-
ask him like what's your name because then
Yeah,
it's too
no,
easy.
it's just
right?
to check his
Yeah.
cognitive abilities
Yes,
lah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I,
Cognitive abilities.
I don't doubt he because he
Because
now
asking your name is too easy, right?
Yeah.
he now
Yeah.
borders on just testing the human limits. It's no longer really a magic trick. It's more like, you know what Houdini did with
He is
the escape.
he's no longer like doing it as an illusion.
He's more like Houdini actually.
Yeah, so
he's
he's
but
pushing-
Houdini is illusions, you know.
And he did push his body to the limit as well.
Yeah, he
And
pushes
the
that
whole
is
thing with
sadly that's how
so
he died.
the thing
as
is
well.
that
So-
David Blaine, right, has gotten into this niche where it's not only magic, it's not only sleight of hand, it's not only illusion or whatever. It's
endurance
in between endurance, pushing the human limit, and then production value,
Yeah.
and some
Entertainer.
entertainer and some camera tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all together put into one package.
Yeah.
He will never claim that this is all factual. It's not. This is all like true. I'm doing it without any assistance or what. He cannot do that. The company, the production company, the channel that is broadcasting it bought the rights. They would never allow that to
Yeah,
happen.
because
Mm.
if he,
Because
I mean,
they don't want to
he
be
broke the
liable for
record,
it.
but is he in the Guinness Book?
That we don't know.
Well, that I don't know.
No, not for the longest breath. Because he inhaled a pure oxygen before it.
Yeah, yeah.
So without pure oxygen was set by someone else, but I think with pure oxygen he holds the limit for that. But you got
Yeah.
you got to check.
So
Mm.
that
Gotta
those
fact
are the things for him. He just entertains us a different way because he knows magic has its limit. When you see the same card trick 10 over times, right, you're gonna get like, okay, it's sleight of
And the
hand.
thing is that he came in at a time, right, where David Copperfield had already done like almost every like massive thing,
Yeah.
massive stunt, illusion that you could do. David Copperfield, like you can either call him the pioneer or he spoiled the market.
Mm.
Both
so
lah,
yeah,
both.
so
He cornered it
so
lah.
people like David Blaine, Chris Angel,
They had to do
Cyril
all this stuff,
Takayama,
right?
and all, they had to come up with their own shit.
So, Chris Angel's niche is shock
Shock.
value.
Yeah,
The
Well,
Dynamo is it?
Dynamo. Yeah,
Dynamo is up close, like
Mm.
more up close. The more outrageous the
Yeah.
the trick is.
Yeah.
David Blaine moved from street magic to more
Shock as well.
to
some
something
bit of
like
shock,
shock,
yeah.
and more now to
Like
test the human.
swallowing
the
like
whole,
a live frog and live
Mm.
goldfish on
yeah,
account of
and he
fucking shit.
and he does it like so
Yeah.
effortlessly. Now he regurgitates frogs out of nowhere.
Yeah, but that was really shown how
yeah,
how
and then
it's
the
being
other
done.
and then the other thing, that's the thing. Some of his tricks are not really magical tricks.
You
He
know, so
actually-
before he swallows the frog,
Frog.
the frog, he actually like drinks like 5
Yeah,
bottles of
and
water.
and,
Yeah.
and
It's
they
like, what?
show and
Don't you
there's-
have to take a piss like 10 times
And
after
you
this?
see, the number one thing with like swallowing a frog or whatever, right? It is something that like I can tell out of 100 lah. I'm just like putting this arbitrarily, like just saying
started
this
with
out.
fish.
Out of 100, right? I think maybe only one person might do it.
Mm.
Mm.
One person might not be disgusted with
Yeah.
with that idea
mean,
of
he-
swallowing a fish, a live frog,
live.
or whatever kind
But
of
he
shit.
also did one with
So-
the water.
Yeah. So
Remember
the
the-
very idea of someone doing that, right, is going to be disgusting and shocking.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a novelty lah.
Yeah, it's a novelty. So
Yeah.
the audience, right, will be prepared that okay, this is number one. It's fucking disgusting. Why would he ever do it
Yeah.
unless he's got like some power or some shit like that? So if people are going to buy into it, that's the point.
Yeah.
They're
But
gonna
also
buy into the whole
yeah,
idea of it.
But also
yeah.
the whole thing with endurance and all these tricks that he's doing, right? Like
Mm.
he should be careful not to fall into the trap of Houdini lah.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
pushed his body too hard and
Too
then he
much.
died of because one of
A
Houdini's tricks
faulty. It's a faulty
appendix.
It was
he,
a,
he burst his appendix
oh.
because one of his tricks was that he will call, like doing his live shows,
Mm.
he will call any audience who thinks he's strong enough
Mm.
to come up to the stage and punch him in the stomach as hard
Oof.
as they can. So one of the nights
Bam.
he's doing like back night to night. So one of the nights he called, and then this massive guy, like young, like, and this was Houdini like in his 40s pushing
Mm.
50s. He wasn't young anymore. So this massive guy came up and then he said, yeah, punch me as hard as you can. Punch him a couple of times in the stomach. And then the guy went
It's
down,
a- it's
and then he
mi-
continued to act. But over
Mm.
the next few days, I think like he started feeling unwell. But because he has back-to-back shows, he just carried on. And then
mi-
one night he collapsed after a show, and then they rushed him to
It's a
hospital. And
miscalculation on his
his
part lah.
appendix burst, and he died lah.
I mean, for David Blaine, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. He carried out this one where there was a guy in Africa, I think, who could drink water and then shoot it back out
Mm.
with pressure, like it was a controlled vomiting, and he did it as well.
Mm.
But there was another magician that did this trick where he ingested gasoline.
Mm.
Oh
kerosene,
yes, you
yeah.
talk about it, yeah. And
So
then he
so he had to find a
burned
way.
his
He had to learn how to
intestines
do
and
the. He had to
yeah.
learn how to do the projection of water, drinking water, and so he learned it from this guy, and that's why I kind of respect him for that because he actually went to learn
it's a
Mm.
skill lah.
and
It's a
no
skill. Yeah.
tricks whatsoever. He just learned how to drink water and then
There's
expel it with like.
there's another one where he was on a Joe Rogan show. He brought can't remember the guy.
Yeah,
No, not that. The guy
that one also quite. Ugh.
the guy who actually kind of inspired Penn and Teller. His trick was to swallow like cigarettes, like lit cigarettes. So
Oh.
like he will do live shows and then he will like solo a
I
pack
know,
of
I know you're
cigarettes.
talking. He smokes.
And then he just
He smokes and he
It- Yep.
then he
Yeah.
brings them out. He I don't know what he does.
and then the
smokes it,
smoke will come out from his
then he-
nose and his
yeah.
mouth and
And he'll
everything
take it
as a
in.
form of like an act lah.
and it's not just one cigarette, 2 cigarettes, 3. He takes like a whole bunch of cigarettes, chain
Oh,
smoking to his
yeah.
max lah.
The
Wow,
the
it's
guy
just-
fucking died of cancer, stomach cancer, stomach lung cancer by 40 or mid 40s. You know,
Ah,
so there's that you can't fall into that trap lah.
just
you know,
taking it
for
too
your
far.
art.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then again, like who wants to live forever?
Going back to 9/11.
Going back to 9/11. That was a nice segue lah.
It's nice.
No, okay,
It's
going
a-
back to 9/11, I think a good place to start, right? Let's put aside the towers first.
Mm.
Let's talk about the villain, Mr.
Osama bin Laden.
Mr. Osama bin Laden and
Yeah.
his history with the United States.
God rest his soul.
Allah rest his soul.
Yeah, Allah is just
Single.
Arabic for God. lah, so
So yeah, going back to his history, I think what many people or even the younger people after 9/11, what they don't realize is that Osama was actually on the side of the United States of
yes.
America.
So
he
he's,
was embedded in Afghanistan to help repel the Russian.
He's part of the Mujahideen.
Yeah, to repel the
So
Soviets.
He's
Soviets.
Saudi. He's a Saudi national.
Saudi.
His family is fucking wealthy as fuck.
One of the most richest family in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we can claim the world as well. Billionaires. So this guy was a rebel.
How rich is he? His father owns the largest construction firm in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So imagine that.
Yeah.
Actually, recently I saw someone actually interviewed someone from the Bin Laden family.
Right.
A
Okay.
female from the Bin Laden family.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
Like a nephew, niece, or something.
niece.
Right. Of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like, oh, how do you actually like get around, or like how do you handle being
Like
a
part
Bin
of the
Laden.
bin Laden, right?
yeah, like when someone sees your surname, they are like,
This one's a traitor. It's an infidel.
not infidel, but like,
Infidel to the United
oh,
States.
is Osama bin Laden your uncle? Is he your grandfather, or is it like a grand uncle?
Dude, imagine
How
on
are you involved?
imagine on Tinder. That's your bio.
I don't think you'll put. I don't think you'll put.
Imagine the one-liners they will have that you're gonna see on your,
it'll be
your fucking Tinder.
fantastic. It'll be fantastic.
Swipe left.
Yo, but the Bin Laden family is like fucking. You can see that they're modern as fuck and all. So this guy Osama was like the rebel, or he was the one that was like extremely conservative or whatever you want to call it. So he, Wahhabi, Salafi kind of thing, where they interpret the Quran
To the
like
to the
like
T lah.
literally,
Yeah.
like literally.
Yep.
So from certain documentary makers and like I think BBC Panorama, they did one episode about it, but then from there you go and search the people that they featured in the documentary. Those people have been complaining about the documentary, saying that we actually gave way more information. It was all cut out.
Wow. Okay.
So the BBC decided what they wanted to show.
right.
So
It's all news channels.
yeah,
I mean,
as all news channels, and then what they wanted to show was that Osama bin Laden was actually
a radical.
requested.
Oh.
He was tapped by the CIA, by MI6 and Mossad, where they wanted to drive the Soviet Union out of Afghanistan,
Mm.
out of the Middle Eastern countries that were actually bordering or part of the Soviet Union. So they were like, go in and fight, and we will do our level best to give you a country,
Mm.
to give you your land, like somewhere you can actually hold fort. So at the end of it, after they were successful, they just left them because they had other interests after that.
Mm.
They had oil interests,
Oil.
and they were like, yeah, there's nothing much here for now.
We
And-
just didn't want
and
this.
but-
And let's not go in there, because let the people who helped us gain control and shit like that first.
And by helping, the CIA actually funded both money and arms
And
to,
arms,
to
yes.
the Mujahideen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from there, that's where eventually the Taliban came out. But the
Taliban.
Taliban had like nothing much to do with the CIA, according to some of the experts or the people who are researching this. The Taliban just came out of extreme religious views that were promoted by
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden, the Mujahideen.
Right.
So from that onwards, even the whole thing about Al Qaeda, its existence, is it real? Were
Well,
they that organized?
for-
That
for-
also comes into question
For me,
because
I always question their motive for trying to bomb, for taking
Oh, no.
out to.
no, the whole idea, the
Mm.
whole concept that there's an organization called Al Qaeda
Mm.
is under question.
Oh,
Okay.
So people who have been researching this, like academics who actually write about this, they have actually
Right.
questioned, saying that when was this organization formed?
Right.
So the
Isn't
reports that,
isn't Al Qaeda formed by Osama bin Laden?
apparently.
Right.
So other experts who are opposing the U.S. intelligence or British intelligence or Israeli intelligence, they are saying that this was made to seem like some organized group, terrorist group, when it wasn't.
Right.
So
Okay.
you brand them, you call them a name, and now you have given evil a name.
Well-
So it might have been attacks that were not organized by one centralized figure,
Mm.
but now the Western countries have made it seem like it's a centralized attack. It was planned and orchestrated by someone in a
Big-
cave, and they are called Al Qaeda. The leader is Osama bin Laden. He did it because of this.
Wait, when you say attacks, you mean 9/11 attacks?
Even before that, so Somalia, like Black Hawk
Oh,
Down.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So all of that was building up
Mm.
to 9/11.
so the thing is, I've always, like in the back of my head, questioned why 9/11 happened. Like, what was it? I actually do question a lot of the terrorist attacks that you see labeled now,
Yeah.
because for me, I don't understand how a terrorist thinks. I don't know what their agenda is, but for me, I would always think that there would be some benefit to a certain action you take. And the attack on America, the two towers, it seemed too small to inspire the terror you want.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
There
too
were only like
small
3,000 people
a
died.
scale. I'm not saying it's not horrible. It is horrible,
Yeah.
but to me, it seems the reason why I question it, right, is cause for an organization, for Al Qaeda to carry out something like that,
It should be all out war.
Mm.
I
Is
mean,
that- is that what you're
all
saying?
out war, not say all out war. It should be
Something bigger. Like a nuclear-
bigger and
yeah.
something a lot more impactful in the sense where I don't know, it wouldn't unite people against you. The whole point of a terror attack is to inspire fear.
Wait, you said it wouldn't unite people against
No,
you?
it's,
Or
okay.
would it?
Not
It
say-
wouldn't unite people to join your cause.
like not
Well-
join your cause, but more like it why it made no sense is cause why would you do something like that when you know the answer, the action that the person over there would take would obviously be this war on everyone. Why
Yeah, yeah.
why would it like what benefit would it be to your cause to do something like that? I can understand that the Western side would tell you like, oh, it's to inspire fear and show that our country can do large like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you ask yourself, is that truly something of an establishment that is supposedly so capable, so dangerous
Yep.
that they would do something like that? But for this, it made more sense that it would unite a nation. It would unite a nation unanimously
Against you.
to take action against you.
Yeah.
So that's why the theory comes out that it was a planned thing by the Bush administration or the administration
Yeah,
itself.
and
Because
following up.
it served more, like, if you see what it led to, it served more as a unifying agent than anything else
For your opponents.
for your opponents.
Yeah.
My case, right, I'm not suggesting that it was. I would suggest all those small little insurgencies on American bases, American outposts, things within the Middle East would serve a better.
It makes more sense.
Makes more sense than
Yeah.
this large scale attack on a country so far away, proving you can do nothing else other than that. I mean, yes, it proved. It didn't actually. It did not prove because
that they actually did it.
afterwards, when you broke it down, so much coincidences. The Pentagon, what NORAD was down.
Yes,
This was
yes.
called down.
Yeah.
That was called down. You had so
war
much
games,
information.
having war games.
War games, so many coincidental stuff that works still to the benefit of uniting a nation against a common enemy. It's put it simply, it's fishy.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
fishy, and that's why all the questions came out. Because once again, simplest term is architects and engineers come out, they raise questions, and it was not answered. It was dismissed. It wasn't answered. It was dismissed. The main point people want to bring out is that it was not answered. It was dismissed with the same formulated answer that they gave everyone. It's proven here. The thing melted. Take it.
Have we
done.
talked about the actual terrorists?
No.
Yeah,
The actual terrorists.
But we were about to go into it.
because
They're not Afghans.
Yeah.
Afghanis.
you know,
Saudis.
this
Yeah.
like, so many questions come up. First of all, what benefit was it to the
And Sean, one of the reasons that eventually the administration gave, saying that they wanted to attack our way of life. Like, because they can go to strip clubs, they can drink alcohol, their women don't need to cover themselves.
Look,
Like, you know, the amount of reasons that
a
the
lot of reasons,
administration started
and you
giving
know what they could have done?
was like ridiculous.
You know
It
what
was
they
like
could have done? Instead of blowing up the 2 towers, big monuments, they could have sent secret terrorist agents with bombs into strip clubs.
Yeah, that would be even way
That
scarier.
would be an actual attack on your way of life.
Yeah, exactly.
They would have. I'm not saying we should. I'm not saying they should. I'm
But I
saying
think that could have been the
I'm
alternative.
saying that the gesture that they made by
like how the guy shot up the gay club in Florida.
who was there a guy? I don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
know
couple
him.
years ago.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
But-
Quite recent lah.
but-
We should avoid that topic.
But that was the biggest question I had for. I mean, I was telling Deben like
yeah.
the purpose of taking down the 2 towers, even though I know it's grandiose and it's big, but it served. I mean, right now it only served one purpose to unite or to
The whole of America against you.
something like that.
Yeah.
It
Which
served
kind of defeats the.
that purpose, and it made no sense.
Yeah.
As a terrorist organization, your main goal is to inspire terror, to disrupt, to cause chaos. It made more sense to me to cause chaos where you are in the Middle East, to attack American. I mean,
Bases
to
or
disrupt bases, to
Yeah.
to create turmoil, to overthrow governments there. Why would you do this when you knew? When I mean, maybe they didn't know.
And you know what's the ironic thing when you talk about American way of life?
Yeah.
Like when the hijackers actually came to America, they were visiting bars, clubs, and strip clubs as well. Yeah, there was surveillance footage of them actually like going around like
I
you
would
know, to
believe it
strip
more
clubs.
if they said that they did this out
So,
of guilt
I
for enjoying it so much.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah.
No, there was too much coincidences. Like we were saying that. I mean, if their goal was to show how America's vulnerable, when the coincidences that happened on that day come to light, how the war games were happening, NORAD was happening.
Yeah.
Basically, America was powered down that day, again coincidentally. It didn't really prove much, and the repercussions after the actions that were taken and how everyone was solidified against them.
The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was announced right after
everything
9/11.
else, it really put lightly is just too
And also, it doesn't make sense to move into Afghanistan when almost all your hijackers are from Saudi. Shouldn't you take up cause against Saudi Arabia?
When every
It's like,
time
hey, why?
every time it gets broken down, right, there are so many loopholes, and it's always covered up by a blanket statement, by a thing is like, and then they use sentiment to overcome all your logical questions.
And then when you look into the reason why they actually moved into Afghanistan, and then opium.
No, even at the end of it,
pharmaceuticals, big
even at the
pharma,
end of it,
opioids,
when they killed Osama,
oil fields as
when
well,
they killed Osama, when Osama was finally dealt with,
Yeah.
his body
was dumped into the ocean.
just
Buried in the ocean.
They were
Yeah.
saying that the Navy
Above the opium, they found a vein of lithium that was worth like $1 trillion or something like that. And what do you use lithium for?
everything
Batteries.
else, your phones,
Phones, your electric cars,
your
lithium
tanks.
batteries, yeah.
tank. Yeah.
No,
Right.
So it was not
it's
done.
questions like this that could get us flagged and assassinated. If it was
It's
more
okay,
than
we're in
19 years
Singapore.
ago,
We're in Singapore lah.
19
Yeah.
years ago, and we had all this kind of
No one cares about 9/11 now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is sadly right. If you really, really, really ask yourself, you really delve down to it. Whenever you take an action, if you are this so-called mastermind, you see a benefit to your cause in some form.
But here there's a fallacy, because then we are not, like, you can't put yourself into another person's shoes, right? We only
Mm.
can look at the evidence after that.
so we have to assume that
So,
Osama was
yeah.
incompetent. Like
Yeah,
this
I mean,
was his main, even though he managed to supposedly evade.
But you see, right, that itself, the whole idea that Osama bin Laden orchestrated or planned this attack,
it comes into question.
it's
So
questionable, because all of, like, fingers were pointed at Osama bin Laden so damn quick. What investigations did y'all do?
no, the thing is, sorry, the
Wasn't-
CIA was able to bring up all these things. Like we know that he's the one that did it. We know this happened.
Yeah.
Everything else. That if you kind of like. So did you know beforehand?
They did.
Like
So,
the thing is
but
that
So
wasn't there a video that says that Osama kind of took charge or something, or admitted the
The
9/11
Dude.
attacks?
and yes, that's the other thing. Did
like,
he take? Did he actually take?
Who knows what? Where are the videos? What videos they're
Did
talking
he
about?
actually? Did he actually? No, this one.
There was
this-
a video lah. There was
Yeah,
a,
but
This
in
is
a cave or
fact.
something.
This one is an honest question. I actually do not know this. Did they claim responsibility for it?
Apparently they did.
Apparently they
In-
did.
in the video, in the
according
video.
to the US.
Yeah.
So the US government said that they have received, or Al Jazeera, which is
Again.
operating from
Again.
from Qatar.
Again,
So
once again,
Qatar is a US
once again
friendly state.
put into question, like, even if it was carried out by them, what significance, what benefit would it be to your cause to take responsibility for that act when you know that act, right? Like I said before,
It's a very it's like what we talk about, dude. Like serial killers, right? Like
No, no.
I can argue on their end, because like
No, no.
a serial killer enjoys killing,
no, but
and
you
he
see,
can
Thi-
walk
thi-
into
this-
a
this
police
one-
station
I
and
think
then
this is where I brought it up. I'm asking, how credible is that? How credible is that evidence? Saying the US claiming that.
I'm not arguing about that.
No, that's why.
Yeah.
Like, if we can, this has to be argued first before even going into that argument of you saying that, like, serial killers like to, they want that infamy.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I did this. You can try and find me, all this kind of shit. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. But for me is that I don't see why, like what Sean was saying, like, why would they actually do something that would get world powers to unite
against them.
against them,
them.
man? You have fucking America sending troops, Canada, Australia, UK, all these countries send troops to Afghanistan, and then after that Iraq to go
Yeah.
and fight.
So
Why would you do something
no,
that does not actually benefit you?
that's okay.
Mm.
That was where I was going. And the other thing, to answer the whole serial killer, the
Right.
whole
Point.
that one comes on a point where if he did something like take out a singular general here, an important outpost,
Like how
by-
US took out the Iran general.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here, and then he wants to be found. He'll lay clues, like this kind of thing. This was a bigger scale. This was on behalf of an organization. I don't think he has that mentality where I want to hide. If he wants to hide, he will hide. He wouldn't come out and say, he wouldn't even come out and say anything. He would just continue his attacks over and over. I'm not saying they should have. I'm saying it's one large scale attack and then hiding. Seriously? You attack the US on such a scale, and then what? You go into hiding?
Yeah.
Actually, I was reading somewhere, right? Someone actually said that for the was it 19 hijackers? 19 hijackers, right? Instead of hijacking a plane and then flying it into the Twin Towers, you know what's a greater way of creating chaos? 19 hijackers each go into one major city in the US
Look,
and then get a sniper rifle and then shoot
look,
random people.
look at that. Look at
That is one.
Look at that.
And then you
Or-
create
or
actual
if you-
chaos.
if you want to kill yourself, right? You're going to be like a suicide bomber, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you just suicide bomb at 19 different places?
Yeah.
No.
That is real chaos.
Dude, you see,
Yeah.
That is real chaos.
that's why another
Because it's
one-
random.
You just came up with another
Yeah.
one out of nowhere. A logical
No,
term
I'm
is that.
quoting someone. Like
Oh, you
I
quoted-
I
but
read
no,
it somewhere else.
But
yeah.
even though, look, when you said that, right, how much sense did that make? In a
Yeah.
very sick way. Again, we're not condoning any of thing, but think about it. You put all your eggs in one basket to make a grandiose statement that led to what?
to
An
everyone
entire-
waging war against
not
on
only
your,
one
against you.
country, but all the other free countries, the countries you are, spouting hatred
But you
against.
see, right? Okay, this I agree with what we are talking about in essence, right?
Mm.
But for this whole attack to be proven as a conspiracy, that whatever that was mentioned as like these were the chain of events that happened and nothing else happened, it we don't even need to go there.
What is this?
I don't know. There must be something inside. So we don't even have to go there
Yes.
where we need to prove this to be a conspiracy. We can look at a chain of events.
Yeah, I was just about to go into that. Yes. Very
Right.
important.
If you go into the chain of events, one by one, you analyze all of them, and the official story starts to crumble.
Yeah, because if you look at one event, right, you can say, okay, coincidence,
Mhm.
fine. Like somewhere in the management, someone turned a blind eye, okay. But if you link all of them together and how one leads to the other, and then finally and then it all leads to the Patriot Act,
Yes.
and then you start to question like, hey,
Then it goes into
really?
the whole like invading Afghanistan, invading Iraq, and then it's never ending. It's perpetual war, right? So with that, right, you have to keep in mind, Twin Towers fell, Tower 7 fell,
Mm.
and with Tower 7 and the Twin Towers, you actually need clearance to enter these buildings, right?
Mm.
You need to be either working in this building or you need to be a contractor who has been cleared to enter the building to do works. Tower 7 has the NSA, has the CIA, has the FBI, has TSA. Every fucking governmental agency, intelligence agency that the United States has offices there. So have offices there, right? So how did these buildings just drop at free fall speed from nothing? Like Tower 7 was not hit, and it
Yeah.
was not actually addressed properly in the 9/11 Commission report
No.
and the NIST report. So
We-
this is the
we-
National Institute of Science and Technology, right? So they were tasked to actually come up with a report on why and how the towers fell. And they came out with the theory, the pancake theory.
And most of it, right, seemed in a weird sense rehearsed.
Yes.
It seemed like when it happens, this is what you're gonna say, this is what we're gonna put out, because we know the questions that are gonna come out, but we're gonna give a blanket statement because we cannot explain it.
Okay, wait. Even before, okay, let's go back a bit. Before the towers collapse, didn't someone actually reported to the that we have a group of cells coming into the United States, and they're learning.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Condoleezza Rice, she had a memo, I think sent to her in August, 6th of August, if I'm not wrong, saying that there are intelligence reports saying that there are terrorist cells that have arrived
sneaking in, to the
sneaking
United
in,
States.
and they might be intending to fly planes into skyscrapers. And even before that, they had few of them, the 18 hijackers plus don't know one more. So 18 of them were Saudi. I don't know what the last one was. So 19 hijackers. They were in Florida and certain parts, other parts of the states. They were going for flying lessons. and the teachers who were teaching them, the pilots, the trainers were like, these fuckers can't handle the planes. They can't even handle a Cessna. I would fail the guy for flying a Cessna. How is he gonna handle a fucking commercial airliner, right? And you see, we also like with the Twin Towers, you cannot forget the Pentagon, the plane that crashed into the Pentagon as well. So all these things add up together, and till this day, the Pentagon, the Department of Justice has not released footage, all the camera footage that's available. Only a small, I think 5-second frame.
Yeah, of an explosion, right?
Yes,
Outside the
And
Pentagon.
where it hit,
and where it hit, yeah,
the place it hit was
the
I think
accounting department.
It
Oh,
was
wait. Before that, someone actually, Donald Rumsfeld, right?
Donald Rumsfeld, yeah.
Yeah, 2
the
days
day before, 2 days before, the day before,
he came out to say
$2.3 trillion
was missing in the
Missing.
defense budget.
defense budget, yeah.
so
And the place where apparently the plane hit was where all the
The
records
accounting
were. The
department.
accounting
So-
department was.
And first responders to the scene of the Pentagon actually said that we could not find any fuselage of a plane.
No luggage.
No fuselage.
Airplane wheels.
And all this
the
information
Pentagon-
was dismissed
Yes.
by,
Yes. Yeah.
by the
Because-
official 9/11
because the
report.
Pentagon one, they clearly state no, they really because even they chart the
the planes.
planes fight,
yeah.
and it was an not say
impossible.
impossible, but they're
Impossible.
like
It's impossible.
They're
Yeah.
like saying, and most likely the one that struck was a missile.
Yeah.
That one, because there's no, you can say that the Twin Towers one, right? Airplanes really hit that one
Mm.
because there were videos. You can say about the Pentagon one, which is really hardly covered. Everything was about the Twin Tower, but the Pentagon one, after it was hit, it seemed to be more of a, like, oh, terrorists are hitting strategic
Yeah.
positions. But then the Pentagon ones, when people kept revealing,
Yeah.
oh, it was an accounting thing. There's not a lot of people in that stuff.
Was the Pentagon even the Pentagon was evacuated, right?
Yeah.
It was.
So
yeah.
no one
There,
actually
there was a Pentagon employee who actually walked out of the gaping hole. She survived. She was stuck underneath the rubble, and she walked out of the hole. And she said that I didn't see any part of an airplane.
where's
She
it?
went in front of the 9/11 commission, not included in the report.
And one thing I would like to point out.
Yeah.
This is the Pentagon.
Yeah,
World
one
Trade
of the
Ce-
most
World-
secure.
World Trade Center. Okay.
Hey, dude, Pentagon, White House, they have ground to air missiles. now.
Dude,
Mm.
yeah, that's the thing.
They will fire at the
This
plane
is
coming
the
at them.
Exactly.
Pentagon. This is a widely known. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Like everyone knew about it back then. Also,
Mm.
everyone was like, Pentagon's like, wow, the U.S. Pentagon. This has to be the most
Secure
heavily
location.
guarded place. And you're telling me a plane can bypass all that?
And what
To
happened
whack.
on the day itself?
That it was a
The-
war game.
The
That-
war games was
that-
happening
yeah.
on
how
9/11, right?
how coincidental a war game happened there. Very easy to explain away all the little loopholes. Right?
And NORAD was stood down.
So
And so
actually, in Vice, if you watch the documentary of Vice, which is about Vice President Dick Cheney,
What,
it was-
Vice? Vice is not a documentary, right?
no,
That's a movie.
It's a fictional film by Adam McKay. Sorry,
Christian Bale was,
was
Dick
playing,
Cheney.
was
Yeah.
playing Dick Cheney, and
Yeah.
actually in the war room, they actually asked him, should we
That was real, no?
should we fire up like fighters? And then he said,
NORAD.
no,
Should we activate NORAD?
no,
Yeah.
he said, no, stand down.
Stand out, yeah.
Then everyone was like, what? And then Dick, in that part of the documentary, I love it. There was actually like a VO where he says that during when the Twin Towers hit,
Cheers.
of everyone that he could speak to, he was speaking to his lawyer.
Ah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
actually had his lawyer
he-
in there,
he-
and then he was having a private conversation with his lawyer.
Okay, okay, you watch a lot of Sean Edward stuff, right? Like, Sean.
here and there, yeah.
Okay, so with his interview, he interviewed David Icke, and they spoke about this because in prison he was actually reading David Icke's book about 9/11, and this was like in 2002 or something like that. So he actually, when he came out, and then he like looked into it more, he was like, yeah, this is fucked up, and then he recalled how it was in 2011 when he was actually working for a brokerage and they were they were doing transactions through Bear Stearns, the
Right.
bank, the investment bank. So he was saying that they actually look through accounts where people, investment banks and hedge funds were actually buying options on airline stocks.
Right.
More dots
Yeah.
that needs connecting.
So you are in banking, right? So you would know that actual stock prices and options are totally different. Options are more volatile than actual equity. So an option value can decrease and increase just like that. The value can go to zero very fast.
Right.
But if you strike big, if you guess correctly, you
Yeah.
will
It's
make
all
a lot of
it's
money.
guessing. It's the speculation.
The speculation is like will actually
I
give
mean,
you
it's
lots
the
of money.
same. As
So does it
going
matter
long-
if the stock actually drops or rise?
No, it
for you to-
it
The
matters.
option can be
but okay, the word
speculation
option,
on that itself.
The word option, right? It is that you have that option.
Hmm.
That you have that option to sell it at that point.
Wow.
You have that thing, but it's a risk lah.
But it's a bet.
It's a bet.
You're betting that this company will go up or down.
Something like that.
Drastically,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, but if it goes down, then
But your bet can be very specific lah. And then it depends
Oh,
on which
shit.
bank
you have
actually
you have an
bets
option to
against you,
sell.
yeah.
Basically you buy the option to sell this company at this price.
at this time.
If you choose
Yeah.
to call on that option, then you sell the company at that price. But if you don't, I mean,
You
if the
you can
person-
also sell that option.
you can sell that option to
So
someone else lah.
Yeah. So now I'm
So
waiting,
the,
right?
The
I'm,
financial system,
So basically, I buy a lottery ticket and then I can sell the lottery
No.
ticket for money as well.
the financial system is worked.
something like that.
The financial system is worked in such a way, right, that it's just it's a cog. Everyone creates
Circle
a new
jerk.
way.
It's a circle jerk.
Everyone creates a new way to sell something that nobody owns.
Selling your bet sounds dodgy as fuck.
Dude,
Okay, so
Selling
if,
your bet.
if you go into it right, the
What?
whole thing is dodgy by nature. But it's the reason why it's so everyone builds it up is because the only way, or it's one of the best ways for the economy to grow, is for people, because if you keep it down to things that you can only sell things you own, it's very slow.
yeah.
And
This is perpetually making you money.
nothing will grow.
Yeah.
But if you keep creating
New avenues for people to gamble on, basically.
for them to gamble, people gamble on future gain, things they haven't even gained yet. They're telling you, I will gain.
But
So
you have to gamble on it.
So yeah, you gamble, you buy it, that
Yeah.
you're buying on the fact that I will gain, or
Yeah.
you're buying on the fact that I will lose.
I think this is a whole different episode that we can go in. lah.
No, but okay, so I'll come back-
It's not that
I'll come
big,
back
it's
to
just
the
that- it's just
9/11
that,
bit. Yeah. So there was a company that was actually trading all these options, right? And they were trading options on United Airlines, on American Airlines, and all. And when they traced it back, so like, even the media was reporting that billions of dollars are being moved on all these option contracts. And when they traced it back, it was a investment bank and it was a hedge fund. I think it was a hedge fund with the chairperson of hedge fund, actually former CIA. And then when you look at it, you are like, yeah, without insider knowledge,
Yeah.
there's no way that any hedge fund manager, any investment bank, like some director or higher level, whatever trader,
Yeah.
would actually make those kind of decisions.
Right.
The information must have leaked somewhere, or it was privy. That person was privy to such information.
Because this couple of $100 million that's floating around, right?
billions.
Yeah.
We're not talking 100 million. We are talking about billions.
Yeah, this is not small money they can make. Yeah, maybe I'll take a gamble on this fucking option. It's like you need to know something in order to like let go of like this
Yes.
large amount of money.
Yes, it was large, and it was reported during that time. So the options market went wild. Sean, you can go and check it out on. It's on YouTube. He re-uploaded the interview with
Right.
David Icke, and he was telling that the options market went wild, and
This was
As
just
a-
before 9/11.
Yeah, just before 2001. He got
Ah.
arrested in 2002 for the whole
Right.
ecstasy ring thing.
So now Sean Edwards are kind of drawing the dots and then be like,
Yeah,
now I could
he's
understand
convinced. He's convinced that there was
something
an
going
actual
on.
conspiracy going on.
Right.
But the thing is that with every conspiracy, from what we talked about earlier on, JFK, 9/11, whatever, you will come across people who claim to have the best insights on all the on every situation,
Yeah.
and all the stories will differ. And with that comes too much of variety that the establishment or the powers that be would cite the variety as being as the downfall for all these conspiracies. They'll say that how can this happen and how can that happen and how can that happen?
Yeah.
And then when all these people who are proposing these different conspiracies don't even come together and try and evaluate it, that's where it falls down.
I think since now we reached that point, I think the best person that here talk about this is actually Richard Gage. And the link that you sent to me.
But Richard Gage, right, he's only talking about the falling of the structures.
Correct.
He's technically not really going into he gives like few hints lah.
He infers.
He infers.
Yeah.
Because for
because-
such a thing to happen, for controlled demolition to happen,
Yeah.
people with clearance, people with access
Yeah.
need to enter.
Because
those
okay,
buildings.
so for anyone who's actually at first when I think we have talked about 9/11 before, even before we started the podcast, and I didn't really I thought that's something too far fetched and too out there for this to even happen. And then after I watched Richard Gage, I realized that all you need, right, is to question how the towers are being have fallen.
Yes,
And if you question that part, the whole
everything starts to crumble after
everything
that,
starts
yeah.
to crumble after that, and then that's where you start going down the rabbit hole and start exploring different avenues. But I think and for background of Richard Gage, he's an architect by trade, right?
Yes.
Architect engineer by trade,
Yeah.
and so he actually have connected with over 3,000 architects and engineers worldwide, not in the States as well, in Europe, in Asia, and they've all signed this agreement saying that we need further investigations.
And they're willing to debate. They're willing to go through whatever documentation,
Yes.
whatever research that NIST has done,
yes,
but they have never been granted access.
so this is the worst thing. They've placed their names on the line and reputation on the line
Yeah.
to say that we are willing to talk about this as long as you are willing to open up to us and have
Yeah.
a conversation.
Give us
But-
access.
But
Yeah.
you
But
see,
this has totally disregarded them
it's
at
been
all.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been the one thing that they've done from all the way. They've dismissed it.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no need.
Dismiss.
There's no need for it. We've already transferred all the steels to China, and then now, 19 years later, all they can do and no one can do about it is like
I think the biggest
that's all they can do.
when Richard Gage starts the whole presentation, right, he actually shows different examples of skyscrapers burning under fire, and they have-
For like days.
for days or even like more than 20 hours or even days, and none of them have collapsed in their own footprint.
Yeah.
So I think the main thing is that a skyscraper will not. The only way for a building to collapse in its own footprint is for controlled demolition,
Yeah.
because then each of its major beams have to
All have to give way.
give way.
Yeah.
So that the ceiling
So-
hits the floor in free fall, and then the next floor hits the next floor in free fall, all the way into ground floor.
Let me be on the side of let me be on the side. Let me just say this, like, okay, if you're saying it's such a conspiracy and they did it, why do they care so much? Why didn't you just let the plane go in and let the towers splatter the way they want, splatter and
Because you
go?
create more damage.
No,
No.
there was no guarantee that the towers would go down that way.
No, it will not go down that way.
It will
That's
not
all
go
That's
point.
the
down,
thing.
yeah.
There is no guarantee
Yeah.
that the towers will go down that way. If two planes hit, then it may not have crashed down the way they wanted to, or it may have crashed in a way they could not predict. Now,
No, I think it wouldn't have come
now
down.
you see, if they're okay, on one hand, if they're trying to control the damage, then that's the more moral. It's a weird moral sense, a weird moral, like, oh, let's control the amount of damage they have. I'm willing to go on the other hand and say, No, they just wanted to make sure that the two towers go down.
Because
Yeah.
then the next question they're going to ask is, what goes into controlled demolition for high-grade steel?
Mm.
And then you look into nanothermite.
Yeah.
And then which organizations in the United States have nanothermite? They're all government funded.
Yeah.
You need a high level of security to even get your hands on nanothermite.
Correct.
And then in order to have a controlled demolition on the two towers, you need to have the blueprint.
Yes.
You need to have access to the building.
Yeah.
And so this leads to more and more questions. And then the next thing is, after the towers collapse, when the builders are actually digging up the remains to like clear the
Where were the black boxes?
the yeah
Black-
no
No,
no
the
black box.
boxes.
No black
the
box.
thing is that
Sec-
everything you just said, right?
Yeah.
You were saying that they need high level clearance, they need
And
this.
and
So how did the terrorists get those
no
things?
exactly. And the second thing is for nanothermite is that when they're clearing out the debris, they found molten steel.
Molten steel. Yeah.
At the bottom of the
And jet
the
fuel
debris.
is not
Yeah.
doesn't burn at molten steel
Jet fuel,
temperatures.
yeah, jet fuel burns way lower than molten.
Yeah.
The degree they need to
All
melt
that
steel.
said and done, if you want to go along with the main theory, the theory
And this was
that's been-
documented. It was in
Yeah.
the news because
Yeah.
I remember
So-
actually watching news. Actually, I remember very clearly, like even after 9/11, watching news of I think it was CNN or something, when the rescue workers were digging up, and then you could
They
see
were finding
molten
molten,
steel.
molten steel.
And then
yeah.
it was 3 months into the cold winter as well.
yeah.
And then I remember like they were talking about it like it's quite weird that like steel is still melting
Yeah. So
molten at this
Mm.
point.
so even you will accept the official reasoning. You have they would naturally ask who leaked out all those things. Like if you want to accept the official story,
Leaked out what?
Oh,
all those information, where to put the I mean, where to hit the towers to create this kind of thing. All this
Not answered.
information,
No one's answered it.
No one's answered.
it, yeah.
no one's answered, and it's always been dismissed.
Yeah.
Even engineers and architects look at the thing from. I'm not an engineer, but I believe if we probably took up some engineering and some architectural stuff, we'll look at it and it's like, hey, wait, that doesn't make sense. Two planes, unless those two planes were filled with high grade, I don't know, weapons things, and there were no actual people inside, and was created to like
yeah,
melt
that's
downwards.
also one explanation that it was actually drones.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if you're
The
saying
other
like,
conspiracy
like if
theory,
it's
yeah.
it's missiles and I don't know, people inside that were the people that were working on the day, that were planted people, that there are too many questions that they dismiss.
Actually,
And
we can
the
do a
action-
part 2 lah.
We could lah.
We can do a continuation next week
Yeah, it's quite
because from what he just said, that we can go into that where there were phone calls being made from the planes.
It was made into a film, United
Dude,
93.
and the
Yeah.
people and the
And,
people that were
uh,
supposed to be in the building and they were not there. There's a whole rabbit hole of a lot of things. If
Yeah.
you accept the
And
official,
then you can talk about how $3 trillion was taken out of insurance.
2.3.
2.3, right? $3
Yeah.
dollars. Insurance was taken out on the 9/11
Oh, on the towers.
on the towers, right?
Larry Silverstein,
Yeah.
the person who took the lease here.
Yeah. So I mean, and this came like a month before 9/11 attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, he took a huge
So-
insurance policy on that.
I mean, we didn't want to go too deep into it, but you can see how deep it could actually go. Like,
No, we are still at a really superficial level.
yeah.
Mm.
Actually, this is still at a really superficial level. Because if you were to go and like dissect it like bit by bit and talk about the evidence and like
And if you're saying that this
eyewitnesses-
is superficial, this is like basically me cutting off my arm already, and then it's still superficial.
Yeah. Because there's been so much that has been revealed,
Yeah.
but it's just that people are not either willing to listen
Or no
or
one's
they're not
covering
bothered.
it. No one's covering it.
No
Also.
one's covering
And
it.
the
as
other
well.
thing
No
is
one's
that it's
covering it.
been 19 years.
19
like
years, yeah.
A
Yeah.
year later, right, people will still be questioning it.
Yeah.
2 years later, still people be still
And-
questioning
and
it.
that-
But the
that's
problem is that they got rid of Osama. They
And
they
then it's like,
swept
oh,
it
But
on the grass.
actually, right, we don't even know if that actually happened.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing. Okay, for Osama's thing, I brought it up just now earlier. Like Osama's case, same thing. Yes, the SEAL team went in, super co-op and everything.
Yeah.
They shot him, and then they said, "What?
Buried him in the ocean.
They didn't want him to be his
Come on,
yeah.
lah."
his burial to be a shrine
Come-
or something.
No,
right?
come on. They didn't want him to become a martyr or what? Come on. you killed him. How much more of a martyr? What? Seeing his body is gonna make people more of a seem more of a martyr. You killed him, and now you see you bury him as shit.
If you want to worship something or you want to like idol worship something, right? You can go to the Freedom Tower. Right?
Yeah, dude, it's like it. Can you? Do they not see how?
This is where my brothers died.
Yeah, how weak that thing
argument
is.
is,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I shot him in the face, and then instead of having any credible evidence of his demise or anything of that sort, no, we decided to bury him at sea.
And intelligence said that he was on a dialysis machine since like mid-90s or something like that. So
He was already at death's door. So what's going on? Like, what is
Yeah.
going on? Why do you have to keep doing this? I don't know. Like, really shady stuff.
let's handle this in part 2 lah.
Yeah, in part 2, I think we can do more research, right, and look into
And
how
who knows? Maybe
intelligence
we
in
can
Hollywood.
we can get a guest.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can get a guest on to like help us cover.
I think the
some more.
only guest that would make any sense would be Jim DiEugenio, but he's in the States. But I think we will read up on it and we'll do some research.
You guys will.
Yeah. No, you can listen to it. It's like a podcast. And it's actually very informative
Yeah,
about Hollywood and intelligence and shit like that. Yeah.
Ciao. fuckers.
If anything happens
Dive
to
into
us,
the rabbit hole.
if anything happens to us between now and the next one,
Yeah, so now is when you need to log onto patreon.com/lotsoflobang.
Dive into the hole. Any
Yeah.
hole.
Any hole.
Yeah.
Into our hole.
Into our hole.
Ciao.